For our next area, this is the Conejo Valley Unified School District. This is the hot seat right now. This is the big one. For our neighborhood, this is where everybody's getting all crazy, and we don't want crazy. So we've got some good candidates for you to hear from. And representing Area 3, Karen Meyer.
Well, the funny thing is, I wrote a speech, and actually between Pastor Rick and Mari, they gave everything I was going to give in my speech. So I'm really glad that I wrote a second speech just in case. But I'm not so sure on that one, so let me just start on that one. I'm going to read it. My name is Karen Meyer. I'm running in Area 3. I've been a member of this district for 29 years. I raised 2 children in this district who are successful and grown up now. I worked for the district for 15 years, so I do know about the culture and the history of the district, so that gives me a unique edge because I have sort of an insider's point of view on what goes on in the school district. Okay, Abraham Lincoln once said, "Upon the subject of education, I can only say that I view it as the most important subject which people can be engaged in." This is even more true right now. The education of our children is an important issue to every parent in this community. Children are the future of our country, and they need a strong foundation in the core subjects to help them succeed in whatever path they choose after graduation. According to Plato, the direction in which education starts a man will determine his future life. With the recent tragedy in Uvalde, school safety is a concern for most parents. We should be doing everything in our power to protect our students. We need single-entry security systems on entrances to our school buildings to monitor visitors on our campuses. We should have security cameras on every campus, not only as a deterrent to crime, but also to help the police when it comes to identifying individuals who enter school sites with the intent to cause trouble, damage school property, or worse. Perhaps the most important component of school safety is school resource officers. And for those of you who don't know what a school resource officer is, it's the officer that is designated for a particular school pod. So we have a Newberry Park pod, Westlake High School pod, and Thousand Oaks pod. Their job is to provide a safe, secure, and positive school culture. A lot of people don't understand that. I know some of the anonymous mommy type people are saying that we don't want our schools to be police states. But that's not what this is. We currently have 3 school resource officers who oversee each of our 3 high schools, but we need to increase that number. I was recently at a meeting where somebody who used to be a school resource officer spoke about an issue that he had. He had been called to a high school to handle an issue that was going on at the high school, a fairly serious one. And at the same time, he got a call that there was an issue at a middle school. He was torn. What should he do? Where should he go? There was only one of him, and by the time he would get to the middle school, it would have been the same as if they had called 911. It would have been no difference. We should have more resource officers so that they can address these issues as they come up. A lot of people don't know what school resource officers do, but they are especially trained to deal with school issues. They're there to ensure the safety of students, staff, and the visitors. Maintain a campus which is open, inviting, and makes students, parents, and visitors feel welcome. They're trained to investigate allegations, question victims and witnesses, because we have a lot of that going on in the schools, and suggest appropriate intervention services. They view their jobs as encompassing these 4 roles. First, as counselors. They talk with students and staff, and they offer assistance and guidance. Second, as a teacher, providing classroom presentations, supporting on-campus intervention, Saturday school with discussions and lectures, and providing staff development and informational programs for parents. Third, as a social worker, linking students, parents, and staff with resources and services available in our county. And last, law enforcement professional, when all other options are exhausted. I feel this is critical and should be a priority to every parent in our school. I moved to Thousand Oaks because I heard it had good schools and it was a safe city. I heard people say all the time, oh, that wouldn't happen here, not in our city. And then borderline happened. We need to be proactive in protection of our students, and we need to start now. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you. All right. And next for us, we have, oh, I hope I say your last name right. Okay, Sophia De Domenico. De Domenico. All right. All right. Thank you.
Well, good. Am I on? Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Like he said, my name is Sophia De Domenico, and I am running for Conejo Valley School Board in Area 4. I am a wife. I'm a mother of 3, former foster parent, local business owner, and a community volunteer, which includes being on a public school PTSA board. The single most important factor when my husband and I moved into this area, or back to this area, should I say, was the public schools. And prior to COVID, we were involved in our public schools. And if you would have told me that our schools would be in the current state we are in now, I would have never believed you. Partisan politics have hijacked what should be a nonpartisan position. Instead of prioritizing academics, we are confusing our children and cutting families out of the process. I don't pretend to be a politician. I don't pretend to have all the credentials. But what I am, I'm a passionate member of this community, and I know that if we cannot get this right, we've lost. We've lost our country, and we've lost the next generation. I want to arm you with some statistics tonight. Here's the current state of our school district. Right now, we have the largest roll of D and Fs that we have ever had in our district. Right now, 42% of our graduating seniors cannot pass math proficiency at a state standard. This is all publicly available on the California, I wrote this down because I knew I was going to forget it, ASPP website. We need to turn this district back to prioritizing rigorous academics and not politics. We need to recruit our parents back into the scenario. When did parents become the enemy? I don't care about your politics. Quite frankly, there are good parents on both sides of the aisle. We need to include them into the conversation when it comes to their students. And like Karen said, we need to prioritize safety because we live in a different world. I am the American dream, ladies and gentlemen. I am a first-generation Hispanic American. I was born to a father who came to this country as a teenager who did not speak a word of English. I am the granddaughter of a public school janitor. I am the result of the power of public education and why it is so important that we get involved in this fight. So I am asking, join me, join Joelle, join Karen as we fight for this community and we fight for the next generation. Thank you.
Nice job. All right. Last but not least, Joelle Mancuso. Area 2.
I'll time this because Bryce gets closer to the table as you go over. You know, it's really great having everyone meet all 3 of us in one place. And I have to tell you, the media likes calling us the Rob Mob. And it's nothing that I'm embarrassed about, but it's totally inaccurate, actually. We did not meet here. We are not members of the church necessarily, and we all came from independent places and from different walks in the community. And a lot of times we get put into a box, imagine that, being put into a box, and it's very inaccurate. So if there's any newspapers out there, just know that anything that's been written about that is inaccurate, and most everything is. I'll tell you what we are, though. We are 3 parents who love public education because we know it's necessary. Not everyone can homeschool. Not everyone can afford private. We pay 45% of our home taxes towards the school district. That's a lot of money. We should demand a rigorous education that prepares our students to go out after graduation, have successful lives. This is something that our country was built upon. Thomas Jefferson knew how important it was to have a rigorous and a very important public school education. So just a little bit about me, if you haven't met me before. I've lived here for 25 years. I've raised 3 children behind me. We have done a little bit of everything with our education because one size doesn't fit all. If you're a parent, you know that every child's a little bit different. We spent some time in CVUSD at Horizon Hills. We then went and did some charter schooling. We went to LVUSD and did some public schooling. We ended up doing homeschooling for quite a stretch. And my son actually graduated from a public school, high school, in 2020. You will not find that in the papers. They kind of peg me as, again, a box of something that I am quite not. I've seen it all, and I know that this community, Conejo Valley, has lots of things to offer in education, but our public school system, it's not thriving, and we need it to thrive like it used to. We used to be known for our schools. There was a golden age of Conejo Valley Unified. Do we want to get it back? I know parents that are now taking 2, 3, and 4 jobs just so that their student can go to a private school, and they're breaking. And they shouldn't have to do that. And I shouldn't have to answer a phone call from a parent saying, "What's the best school?" I should be able to say all of them are quality schools. That's what we want for our community. Right now, as we've already spoken about, enrollment is low. Teachers are retiring 5 to 7 years earlier. They're frustrated. The curriculum has gone way too far. A lot of our teachers are not comfortable teaching it. Too many kids are producing D's and F's, and our graduates are not ready for college at all. Involved parents who fill school board rooms are not being listened to anymore. In fact, what's really quite alarming to me is coming in with a group of 200 parents who have nothing to share except their concerns about parent notification, about being part of the school day, and from our board calling us haters. The only thing that does is it divides the community, and we don't need to be divided anymore. When Borderline and the fires were going on, we all came together as a community. It felt good, right? Because we know that it was against us, against the world, that we could handle it. And then the COVID measures shut us down. The kids had to go learn at home. The poor teachers had to Zoom school, which is nearly impossible. And when we came back, we were so divided that you would think our leadership in our schools would take extra care to be the glue to bring back our education where it should be. But they haven't. They're further dividing us. And it has to stop because our kids deserve it. Our teachers deserve it. Do you all remember right now, if I ask you, what was your favorite teacher in school? Do you have someone in mind? Yes, I do. You know why? Because remember the good teachers. And we need to support the good teachers. Because that's the lifeblood of our public school system. Supporting the teachers, supporting the parents. It's a success triangle: student, parent, teacher. And if the board is not going to get behind it, it's time to replace the board. The people that got us in this mess are not going to get us out. A new board is necessary if we hope to see growth in our district, which we all want to see. And politics and opinions have no place in the classroom. There are 3 of 5 CVUSD school board seats. They're up for election this November. And my name is Joelle Mancuso, and I would be honored to be your Area 2 trustee. Thank you.